Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Now let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Lizzie Burden with Stephen Carroll, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Melee. Chloe, it seems like LVMH is not popping the bubbly this morning. Why?
Yeah, so Trump is hitting the French where it hurts the most, which is champagne, of course. Trump said that he would impose a 200% tariff on champagne if Macron doesn't join his board of peace. So for a little bit more detail on this board of peace, Trump is essentially demanding that nations pay $1 billion for permanent membership of the board, and some European leaders have voiced some concerns about that plan, given that it appears to place the ultimate decision-making power with Trump. And so Macron has rejected an invitation to join that board of peace, and Trump has said, well, if you refuse, then I'm going to retaliate by targeting your wine and your champagne. And LVMH is affected by this, given it has a big wine and spirits division. It is the smallest segment out of everything that it does, but it still did bring almost 6 billion euros in revenue in 2024, so it's not a negligible part of that business, and it's also the segment that's actually been the weakest recently over the last few quarters. And so this potential tariff would, of course, make that much worse. And LVMH was already under pressure yesterday from Trump's plan to impose 10% tariffs on goods from countries that had opposed his efforts to acquire Greenland. So LVMH is caught in that crossfire, and there's a bit of a double whammy there as well with that potential champagne tariff.
Yeah, and of course it is sort of an almost offhand comment from the US president on his way to Davos, talking about putting this 200% tariff on wines and champagne. So we wait to see what sort of detail may follow on that one as well. But he certainly floated the idea. Turning next to the payments service Wise, what news from them?
Well, it's a good day for Wise. Shares have jumped quite impressively this morning after it confirmed that it was on track to shift its primary listing to the US within the first half of 2026. And it also reported some really strong numbers with a 21% increase in income in the third quarter, and that was also ahead of expectations. The goal of the primary listing shifting to the US is to increase its profile in that country, and it said that it wants to partner with more than 4,000 banks across the US and get them to use its money transfer services. When it announced the plans to shift that listing, though, it was seen as kind of a big blow to the London Stock Exchange. We'd seen, companies like Flutter and CRH already shifting their primary listing to the US, and it was a sign that low valuations, weak liquidity, all of that was really driving companies away from London. Now there are some signs of life in the London Stock Exchange, but obviously this today is a reminder that the exchange has lost a company that is doing really, really well, and the US Stock Exchange will be benefiting from that.
And Chloe, finally, Monte dei Paschi getting a boost from Italy's government this morning. Tell us more.
Yeah, the finance ministry in Italy is said to be backing the CEO of Monte Paschi for another term, so it's keen to kind of support Luigi Lovaglio, the CEO, because he managed to successfully turn around the bank after a very difficult decade of restructuring. And he also recently completed the $17 billion deal to buy the rival Mediobanca, and that has turned Paschi into the third largest bank in Italy. And Lovaglio is continuing to benefit from that support from the finance ministry, even though its takeover of Mediobanca is actually currently under scrutiny by prosecutors. They're investigating allegations of market manipulation, and Lovaglio is still very much at the center of all of this. But this continued support is probably being taken well by investors and taken as a sign that there won't be any disruption at the top for now, and that stability there is being rewarded, and we've seen Paschi's shares moving higher this morning.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.